Going back to the owl. Hold on just a second. Put this up here. Get around there. If I am making a mark in the history of the United States, it may be cultural more than anything else. Oh, this? Yeah. It may be more cultural than anything else because we have now sold 8 million owls, and that's more than they have pink flamingos. And there's nothing tacky about owls. But as Dick Ray was saying, you look around on buildings and so forth, and you see these owls sitting around. Almost everybody knows us by the owl more than our landscape fabric. I got a call. Said somebody from the Wall Street Journal wants to talk to you. So I said, well, I'll talk to him. So he said, you know, we're seeing these owls everywhere, and we really think we'd like to do an article about it. I said, fine, I'll tell you everything you want. So I gave him the whole pitch, including the fact of what's listed on the bottom of the owl, that it has to be moved every 2 or 3 days or the birds will get used to it. And that's a requirement. In fact, I've had somebody down on Fort Loudon Lake that was having trouble with Canadian geese. And a Canadian goose is a lot bigger than an owl. And said, can you do anything about that? And I said, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know whether an owl scares a Canadian goose or not, but I'll give you one and you can try it. Again, long story short, for 2 years he has not had a Canadian goose in his yard. And what he does is every day when he goes to get the paper, he goes out to the seawall and moves the owl from one place to another. Well, knowing that it needed to be moved, I thought, well, a rotating head, moving head in the breeze would at least mean you wouldn't have to move it as often. But anyhow, back to Wall Street Journal, they listened to everything I said, and I had kind of forgotten about it until I got a call one morning and said, have you seen the Wall Street Journal? I said, no, I haven't. He said, well, take a look. I'm not sure how pleased you're going to be, but at least you got some publicity. And so it turns out that the entire article was generated by this photograph, which they've done as they do with photographs, where you've got a pigeon sitting on top of the owl, and the headline says, birds don't buy it, so is it wise to buy those plastic owls? And it was very unfair because what they were saying is, you know, they just don't work very long. We've had people in the billboard business that have tried to get our owls to keep birds off their billboards, and I won't even sell them to them because it says you're not going to be able to move them around. And so all of that was in the article inside the fold. They had all the criticism at the front, and then they had all of my answers inside. And you lose about 90% of your audience as you go inside the fold, so the message didn't get across. But our business went up 20% that year. Okay. So anyhow, the evolution of the owl was, and we had a rotating head owl. And since you don't always have a breeze, our latest one is a solar owl. It's got a little solar cell on top of the head, and there's not quite enough light here to do it, but even with skylight or the sun, every 2 minutes this thing will kick sideways like that. And it is I still don't have evidence that that is enough. I still think you need to move them physically from one place to the other, but maybe not as often. But I got to looking at this. It's solar operated. It doesn't have battery. It just charges a capacitor, which fires every 2 minutes. And I got a really neat idea. I'm a kind of frustrated marketing person anyhow, so I said, suppose we change the name of this, since it has such a low carbon footprint, to So, but I can't get the marketing department to respond. So it's still called the Natural Enemy Scarecrow Solar Action Owl. Isn't this better?